Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So here's another deck profile for you guys today. This time it's an update on my zombie deck. So I've actually decided to go back and completely update this deck and made a lot of changes with it. We just got Mystic Fighters recently, which actually had some pretty decent reprints. Some that were actually kind of pure random, but there were some that actually needed some reprints. So I decided to take one card specifically off that set and try it out on this deck, and I think I like it a lot better than I thought I was going to. So I figured I'd show you what I have this time around. Alright, so in this deck I actually decided to make some things I could make do without and just to make room for some other cards. And I found this build just a little bit more effective than my last one. So starting off with 2 copies of Doom King Batroc. Still definitely want to run this as just 2 and not 3 because 3 can be a bit of a brick. But he's really good for disruption. Whenever a zombie monster activates an effect, you can either negate that effect or banish one monster on either player's field or graveyard. So that's what's so great about him. So easy form of disruption, and it's once per chain, so also really good. Now the thing is, like, you can only use one of each of the effects once per turn, so that's the only downside about him. But he's still a pretty broken card overall. Next to Necroworld Banshee, she gives you instant access to your zombie roll, which you definitely need to, because Zombie World is literally the whole point of this deck. It's a floodgate in and itself. It just turns everything on the field into zombies, as well as the graveyards too, so that really just makes it beneficial. And plus, Banshee can also protect your zombie world as long as she's on the field. Next, 2 Glow Bloom. Just a good way to get instant access to your level 5 or higher zombie monsters. If zombie world's out on the field already, you can special summon those monsters rather than just searching them out. And of course, a zombie deck's not a zombie deck without Shiranui Solitaires. Definitely got to play those at 3. Gets you access to all your tuners with 0 defense points. Moving on, which also comes to our next card actually, Unizombie. Also got to run this at 3. Definitely one of the best cards in the entire deck. It adjusts your monster's levels and just helps you just basically get all the zombies into your graveyard as quickly as you can. Next, as a secondary opener, I also have Gozuki at 2. I don't think 3 is necessary. I think 2 is just fine. It's just another copy of Unizombie. The one thing that does hurt about this deck is that if you get hit with the Vela or Impermanence, especially on that Unizombie, it hurts, but luckily I have a way to work around that, so we'll get to that momentarily. 2 Mizuki, it's your Monster Reborn. I don't feel the need to run it at 3 right now, just because like we have cards like DD Crow, so if I declare to activate this, my opponent could easily just get rid of it, so yeah. And for the one of, I'm running 1 Vampire Throwerline, just because, you know, she's a generic power boost for zombies, so why not? And plus, she can special summon herself for free whenever a monster declares an attack, so it's really good. Alright, so now moving on to the hand trap lineup. I'm running 2 copies of Ash. You know, it's a hard one to return, so I think 2 is just fine. But right now we're in a format where people know how to play around Ash, so it's just like, but as long as you time it correctly, you should be just fine with it. Next up, Ghost Ogre, still an excellent hand trap, so I would recommend running this card. It's still really good, so can't say much else about it. And then lastly, 2 copies of DD Crow. This is mainly for the Orcus and Salad matchups, because, you know, those decks actually lose hard to DD Crow, so DD Crow is really good. And like I said, you can activate it at any given time, so DD Crow, definitely an amazing card. Alright, so now we're moving on to spells. I'm running 3 copies of Zombie World. Definitely got to play this at 3. Like I said, turns everything on the field into zombies as well in the graveyard. And your opponent can't tribute summon except for zombie monsters. So if you're having to go up against a Draco deck, well, Zombie World can be pretty tricky for them to deal with. So you should be just fine. Now for my new tech choice, I'm running 3 copies of Dark World Dealings. So before I was running Danger Mothman. Great card, but half the time I kept losing my hand traps. And I definitely want my hand traps. So Dark World Dealings is actually a really strong card for this deck because, yeah, each player draws 1 card and then discards 1, but it also gives you an ability to see what your opponent's playing. That way you know how to work against that. And if, you know, because like the whole point of zombies is like it's kind of a control deck too, so you definitely need to be able to out pretty much whatever your opponent dishes at you. Next, 3 Called by the Graves, which actually also works well in tangent with their Dark World Dealings, because like if you know what your opponent's playing, you can just get rid of it with Called by the Grave or your DD Crow, so definitely an amazing strategy to work with. Next, 3 Super Poly. Generally use this, with Zombie World as well because everything turns into zombie. Yeah, it just opens the book for more super poly targets. But also, what I also like about it is that the fact that you can discard any card you want. You discard that Necroworld Banshee, you can use her quick effect later to get that Zombie World out. So it's just really good. Next up, 2 Twin Twisters. Just in case if I'm going second and I happen to go up against like a full back row heavy strategy, like Subterrors, Altergeist, all those type of decks, I just want to be 100% prepared for that. And then for the 1-ups, 1 Terraforming, just keep searching out that Zombie World, 1 for 1, and then Foolish Burial. I'm not running Monster Reborn anymore, I just don't feel the need to, because a lot of zombies can kind of bring themselves back. I forgot to mention about Doom King Battledrock. As long as there's a field spell out, he brings himself back every standby phase in defense mode. Alright, so that's it for the main deck. That's 40 cards exact. Now we're moving on to the extra deck. Extra deck is pretty standard for the zombies. But let's start it off with the main ones. 1 Vampire Sucker. You could run it at 2 if you wanted to. If a zombie monster is brought back from the graveyard on either player's field, you get to draw 1 card, so really good. And she also acts as a Monarch Stormforth for zombies, so if you need a tribute summon, well, there you go. 1 Avenged Savior. Really good card. It's another good way to dump your zombies to the grave. I usually like to send Doom King Battledrock with them if I make them early on and declare an attack, so gives himself a power boost, and again, it just gives you free access to your zombies. So, Avenged Savior, definitely something to look into. I'm running 1 Heat to the Fire Charmer Blaze. This is for the Sky Striker, Salamangreat matchups, just to give me a way to extend my plays. So, Heat to the Fire Charmer Blaze is really good. And I'll just have so you get access to your Shinui Solitaire as well. So, yeah, definitely something to try out. I'm also running 1 copy of Salamangreat Almirage. You do normal summon some pretty weak monsters in this deck, so I wanted to try out Almirage, and he's not bad. Definitely something to try out. You don't really have to run it if you don't want to, but I just personally like what he can do. And the fact that it gives your monsters built-in protection, it's not bad. Got 1 Link Karibo, of course. Got plenty of level 1s to work with. Now, this one is optional. Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. I just happen to own one. But if you don't have access to this card, there are other options like Bomber Dragon, Borlo Dragon, Boral Sword Dragon, like I said, the options are there. I'm just running it because, again, I just happen to own one. But really good card, especially like if you make him with a level 7 or higher monster, he becomes pretty busted. And then my last card is Mekk-Knight Crusader Avermax. I know this card's expensive now, but again, there are other options out there. You can also run Nightmares, actually, now that I think about it. If you want to run Nightmares, The options are there. For my synchros, I'm running 1 Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon, just to help with the OTK along with Shogun Saga. Really good card just to, not only banish to give himself a power boost, but he brings back one of your banished monsters if he's sent to the graveyard. 1 Cyphering Lord Omega. Every zombie deck needs this. It's a good way just to rip cards out of your opponent's hands. 1 Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. Or, sorry, not Archfiend Abyss. Just Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. I kind of miss Agripane, guys. I apologize, so I didn't mean to say Abyss on that one. But anyway, I like to run this card because, pops every special summon monster out there, and also burns your opponent for 500 points of damage. So it's a good way to win by time. So if you need that edge, Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, definitely an amazing card to try. Now for my super poly targets, again, Zombie World basically just opens the book for more super poly targets. I'm running 1 Jagger Necro, just requires 2 zombie monsters, so real easy to summon with Super Poly. Of course, got to play the generic ones, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, as well as Dragostapelia for the Thunder Dragon matchups. And for the Solid matchup, 1 Violet Chimera. So, yeah, that's all there is to say. Alright, for the side deck, of course, got to play 3 copies of Nibiru. Amazing card going second, and my zombie deck's mainly built to go first, so I'm always woefully prepared. I also got Mind Control, which helps too. My new side tech, I'm running Drag Down into the Grave. This card is nuts. In fact, I've seen a lot of people start running this now, that or Prohibition to deal with Nibiru. It's another good way just to deal with like problematic cards that your opponent's going to use against you. So Drag Down into the Grave is not bad. Both players reveal their hands, discard 1 card from each other's hand, and they both get to draw 1 card. So it kind of acts as another copy of Called by the Grave. I'm also running 3 Shared Ride for like search heavy strategies like Sky Strikers mainly. Salamangreat also does a lot of recursion, so Shared Ride definitely helps with that. And then lastly, to deal with the Pendulum matchup, Anti-Spell Fragrance. It also works pretty well against the Dracos because, you know, stops their Draconic Diagram for a turn, so you basically just win the game from there. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you guys again next time.